Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Overwatch Champions. This series is sponsored and produced by BreakTheGame.net. For more videos like this one and the latest on the news and the biggest names and events in esports, head over to our website. My name is Odin, and in today's episode we're going to be covering one of the most important fundamentals in Overwatch, when and how to engage and when to use ultimates. Learning how to recognize good opportunities to attack is vital to winning important battles and will give you the ability to overwhelm even the most coordinated teams. When it comes to choosing your battles, there's a lot to consider, and we're going to break down the basics of engagement to give you a tactical edge. First and most importantly, let's talk about communication. Even if you're confident in your ability to flank as Genji or Tracer or get solid picks with Roadhog, communicating your plan of attack and what you're doing gives your team a better understanding of when and where they can help. Some heroes have particularly strong initiating abilities, and using them effectively can open up huge opportunities for your team to storm your opponents. Let's take for example McCree. His flashbang is not only a defensive tool. Did you know that you can jump and throw his flashbang over Reinhardt's shield and it will disable him? Using this technique when pushing with your team's Reinhardt can be especially effective, allowing you to approach the enemy and get in range to create that opening you need. However, if you intend to try this, coordination with your team is required. While the flashbang will cause Reinhardt to drop his shield, you have less than a full second to act, so letting your team know when you're going to throw the flash is vital to giving them a chance to follow up. There are many combinations of abilities that can disrupt an offense or defense, and mastering them will really step up your game. McCree's flashbang is just one of many examples of ways to create openings, but what about recognizing opportunities to attack? A very common mistake in most levels of play is overextending, where a player may be caught too far from their team while pushing to secure a kill. While some heroes do have abilities to cover this, quickly calling out these players and asking your team to push them is a great way to give you an advantage, making the next skirmish a 6v5 in your favor. If you watch pro players, you'll probably see that they are pretty tightly coordinated and always try to keep an eye on their teammates, so it's difficult for their opponents to find that opening. You've probably seen that on most maps, they defend as close to the point as possible, and this is for two reasons. First, a lot of maps favor the attacking team on the first point, meaning that they spawn closer to the point than the defending team, and therefore losing a player on defense can be much more costly than losing an attacker, just due to the nature of point capture. And second, there are generally less places to keep an eye on, so you don't have to worry so much about being flanked by those dangerous backline assassins looking for your supports. Possibly one of the most important facets of a successful attack is keeping an eye on important cooldowns from the enemy. For example, if Soldier 76 recently used his heal, and Roadhog just missed his hook, it might be a good time to try and push, as potent or dangerous abilities will not be ready to counterattack with. Other times, you may see a lack of coordination, such as a Reinhardt charging in without his team. Focusing your fire and quickly eliminating him immediately blows the doors open on your push and lets you snowball the fight. So, keeping an eye out for players that are pushed up too far or out of place, have recently used their defensives or escape abilities, or are just spread out and can't help each other is extremely important. But when should you engage with an ultimate? While all ultimates are designed to either save your team or take down your opponents, they function in a few different ways. Some ultimates are great at both securing kills and zoning your opponents out of their positions, forcing them to hide or split up. Ultimates like McCree's Deadeye and D.Va's Self-Destruct accomplish both of these by being extremely lethal, but with early audio cues and a short timer to give the opponent some awareness. Others, such as Zarya's Graviton Surge or Reinhardt's Earth Shatter, do a little bit of damage and disable the enemy and give your team ample time to unload their attacks. Knowing when and how to use these ultimates can make or break a team fight, and there are plenty of great combinations that can be devastating when used correctly. Always try to be aware of your team's positioning before using an ultimate, and be sure that if you're using Dragon Blade or Graviton Surge, your team can capitalize on the chaos and support you, or help secure the kills. This brings us back to the emphasis on communication. Talking to your team and executing with a predetermined strategy makes all the difference in the world. Take some time to learn about these combos, coordinate with your team, and you'll find yourself steamrolling your opponents. In future episodes of this series, we'll be covering each individual hero and give more in-depth strategies on when and how to use their abilities, as well as heroes that synergize well with them. Remember to always talk to your team, and let them know when you plan to start a fight so that they can have your back. That's all for this episode. If you're enjoying this series so far, consider subscribing to our channel to keep up to date on every new release. Feel free to leave a comment with your thoughts on the series and some things you'd like to see in future episodes. One of the things that you guys have requested the most are guides on individual roles and the mindset to play them, so give us some feedback on that as well. Thanks for watching, get out there and be the hammer.